Hey everybody, we're back. We were looking at the Bouncy house and we were setting up access for CSS, okay, through a link tag in the head of the HTML file, and we're also running a script file, okay. So, so what's going on is that there's a JavaScript file here, and there's a CSS file here, and we're getting them to link to the HTML file, and that's the biggest problem, I think, of the whole problem here. Okay, and what we did is we set a blue background on Bouncy House, so so we know that the blue background's working, which means the CSS is working here, and we also set a console log on the script um, to um, to show that the JavaScript is working. And the only way you can really test that is going through here and going to developer tools. And if you see that hi there is there, then you're all set because that's what's going on in your JavaScript. Okay. So what we want to do right now is kind of work on the styling of it. Okay. And in the header in mind, what I was trying to do is I was trying to add a kind of a roof gable so it looked like more like a house. And if you go to the online course here, and you go into here, I put some files for if you go to pages, would be I'll put them up on the the web page here, but what basically I have a file of Bouncy House Gable pictures, okay. And if you look at one of them I severely photoshopped, but you know, the other ones you could use too to make a kind of a roof too. And I just want to give you some things. That's sort of what it looks like. You know, I cut the other one off. If I get some time this week, I'll cut other ones off. If you're interested yourself, there is a photoshopping like free photo. If you have Photoshop, it's great. But if there's a free Photoshop tool called GIMP that you could use to do some Photoshop work. And if we're interested, we can check it out. But if you don't have that kind of access, you can just use this. I guess what I want to do see is a kind of a cool background photo somehow in the header tag, and that's sort of what we're going with. And we're going to work on the styling now. So the first thing I wanted to do was kind of get some nice fonts, and we've been using Google Fonts to do this. So I'm going to go to Google Fonts, and I'm going to look at some stuff that I like, and I want you guys to do the same thing and find your own fonts. But what I did was I found a font, I think it was called Tradewinds. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I went here, whoopee. Oh, even worse. Okay. And that seems okay. And what I'm going to do is select that font, okay. And I also picked a couple of other ones too. Let me reload this. Let me see. I don't want to go back to here. Yeah. So I also looked for a couple of other fonts just to like in case you know that didn't work out. And there are like a bazillion fonts that you can pick, but what you want is you want one that kind of looks bouncy and I guess sort of fun, right? Okay, I picked let me see this. Yeah, I picked that one. That one looked kind of cool to me. So if I do that, I'm going to select that. Okay, so now I've got like Tradewinds and Lacquer like chosen. Okay, and I'm going to go back here and just kind of look around again. But you can, you know, you can get all these guys, which is great, all these different fonts. I'm going to pick, I found this one too, which I thought was cool. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, there it is. I like that. So I'm going to pick that. Okay. So I have these like 3 fonts, you know, picked here. And then what I want to do is if I want to put them in my web page, okay, there's a couple of things you can do. You can do the link tag, which we've done before. But I'm also going to do this one. I think the import one is sort of easier to use. So what you can do is you can literally just put this right into your style sheet, like right at the top, okay? And it'll look like this. Whoa, that's big. Okay, but let it roll. It'll be a big thing. I'm gonna make this smaller so you can see the whole thing. And what it does is Google makes this sort of one tag that fits all the fonts, and it looks like this. It says add import, and that's good. Okay. Another thing I would totally do is I'd make a small comment in your web file, and what it does is if you go to Google Fonts, it actually tells you over here how to use them, which is great. It gives you the font family tags and stuff. So I usually take this and I put this right in my CSS file, so if I'm confused or I don't know what I'm doing, I can just like put that right in. Okay, so that's what you want to get going on there. And then what I want to do is I want to continue. I am not sure if I love Dodger Blue, but I'm kind of going along with it right now. But what I would do is I'd set margin there to 0. Okay. And I'd set padding to 0 generally on all the stuff. And this sort of cascades through your whole document, right? So, and that's sort of helpful. And at this point, what do we got? If we save all, it should just look what it looked like before. Nothing crazy yet. So if we go back here and run the HTML file, you end up with something like that. You still got that. Okay, that's fine. So let's keep going. And what we want to do is we want to style like the H1 tag, okay? So I'm going to do a couple things here. I'm going to say margin 0 because I don't want any margins on here. I want it to be very like kind of stylistic looking, okay? I'm going to add some padding top. I don't know, maybe like 20 pixels, something like that. I'm going to add padding bottom. Say maybe 20 pixels. Okay. Padding left maybe. I'm kind of freeforming this right now. It's 5%. Okay. And then what I would do maybe is use the Tradewinds font family. Okay, this is what I kind of did in class. So you have that. Okay. And then I might set a font size. And I want this to look very big. So I'm going to say 4 EMs. Okay. Which are like the basic default unit. I'm going to text align them to the left. And let me see. I had picked, I think I want to pick a color, but I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to pick a background color for this. And colors are important because people really respond to them. So I'm not sure this works with Dodger Blue, but I'm kind of going with it right now. Okay, and I'm going to set a color of the text itself. And you can find it from on like an online color editor, online color picker. We could do this one here too. So we'll do this, and I don't know. I was looking for sort of a dark color. Let me see here. And let me try this again. You have the Google one. That's it. Okay, so I'm looking for this. And I was looking at a color like this. Let me find it. Okay, so I kind of picked a kind of a purpley color. I'm going to pick something like this. I'm not sure if that goes with the blue. Again, so I'm going to go maybe like darker. And I'm just going to pick this hex color and throw that right in there. And that looks good. And then, let me see. I'm going to pick a height on this. It's going to equal maybe like 250 pixels. And this could all like all very vary. Okay, and then I'm going to use a sort of a special command here that I think you haven't seen before, which is be like text shadow, which is cool. And I'm going to set that to be like 2 pixels. This sort of sets up like a right side and then a bottom side shadow. Okay, 2 pixels. And then we'll be only get no comments actually. And we're going to do 8 pixels. And then last time I did this, I tried like gold. We'll see what this looks like. And then I'm going to try to put the background picture on if I can. So save all. We'll open up in browser and see what it looks like. Okay, so you get up with something like that. That actually seems sort of cool to me. Maybe less black, but that's okay. Okay, and then we have to sort of work on here, but I wanted to put actually a house picture in here. And I want to show you how to do that.